Children gentle, playful, hopeful, children waiting for Christmas or Hanukkah or winter adventures were killed in their elementary school. A story too painful to believe, and yet it is our reality. It is a searing truth that connects to countless stories of violence to children all over the world. Jesus calls to his disciples saying, "Feed my sheep." 3 times Peter denied Jesus. And now Peter is given 3 opportunities to say, "I love you." God forgives us for the times we have not spoken or acted to make our children, God's children, safe.
I've just returned from Washington, D.C., where a group of Episcopal bishops and clergy and laity and perhaps a number of people from other denominations or no denomination whatsoever walked the way of the cross in a snowy, rainy Washington, D.C., largely motivated by the shootings in Newtown, Connecticut at Sandy Hook Elementary School on December 14th, 2012, and heard and shared the pain and the stories and the way in which we're all implicated in the violence of our culture. One story in particular struck me. It was a story about one of the young children who survived the Newtown shootings, who in his classroom was hearing the pop, pop, pop of the gun rapidly firing, and everybody was screaming in that classroom. And this young man, a 6-year-old, got up and said, "Don't worry, everybody, I've taken karate, I'll lead you out." And while many people kind of chuckled, others broke into tears because it was a sense of leadership from a 6-year-old that reminded us that sometimes we need to say, you know, don't worry, world, I follow Christ, I'll lead you out. We need to do that as we combat the violence in our society. So we met with some of our political leaders as well and hope to have some legislative action, particularly on the need for universal background checks before anybody buys a gun. But my hope and my prayer for this Holy Week, for Easter and beyond, is that the new life that springs as a result of Easter will bear some fruit in terms of our call by Jesus to be peacemakers and to reconcile the entire world to God through him. The Diocese of Connecticut, after the tragedy of Newtown, developed a 5-week educational program that is framed in terms not of gun control, but of violence. Violence in the culture, violence in our society, violence in our churches, violence in our homes, violence in ourselves. It takes the framework of violence and has us own as individuals sometimes the language we use. We say too often, "I'd just like to shoot that person." And we don't really mean it, but the very language we use carries with it a sense of violence. And we need to be sensitized to the variety of ways in which we participate in our own culture of violence.